Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be breaking down the 10-game afternoon slate on Draftkings. We're going to have a separate video out for the later slate going on. I believe it's 5 or 6 games on Saturday night, but for now, this one's just strictly focusing on the 10-game early afternoon slate. 10-game slate, but pitching is pretty sparse. We only have 2 guys priced above 9,000, which is pretty amazing for a slate this size. But first, let's look at the weather and just kind of go over some things that need to be said here. There was a lot of rain on Friday night, so there's a couple of these games that are part of double headers, so they're only 7-inning games. Colorado versus Pittsburgh, that's going to be a 7-inning game. Baltimore versus Chicago White Sox, 7-inning game, and Milwaukee versus Washington, also a 7-inning game. So the bats from those games probably gonna take off at least one at bat, probably just one at bat for the teams there. Run total is gonna be a little bit lower. Rain-wise, though, the Milwaukee-Washington game is really the only one we have to be worried about at the moment. I recorded these the night before, so things can change. I don't expect it to be postponed at all. I still expect them to get it in, but there is a threat there lingering that we do need to pay attention to. But let's just dive into the pitchers here. Up at the top, we have DARVISH at 10.6K. Darvish has been doing well this season. We all know what his strikeout upside can be. He's at a 30% strikeout rate so far this season. However, he is in a very tough matchup here going up against Houston. A Houston lineup that does not strike out against right-handed pitching. Houston as a team only strike out 18% against right-handed pitching. That is way ahead of everybody else in the entire league. This is the same Houston team that Garrett Cole only got 4 strikeouts against in 7 innings pitched. So they really limit the upside and the ceiling for pitchers here. So Darvish, I don't think he's going to be having a ceiling game at all. Don't expect double-digit strikeouts from him. But as we go through, you'll kind of see there's not many other great options on the slate. There's no true other studs. But we're going to be, so you'll kind of see we'll be focusing up at the top here, but there are some great value plays down low. Freddie Peralta right below him. He's the only other guy priced up above 9K, and he's at 10.1. Peralta's at a 38% strikeout rate this season. The strikeouts have been there. They're plentiful every single game, but we do have to make note that this is a game that has some rain risk in it at the moment, and it is only a 7-inning game. So chances are he's not going 7 innings. He's probably, if he's doing well, he's probably only going to go 6 still, and they're going to bring in like a closer or reliever to finish things out. So really a 6-inning cap for a guy at over 10,000 is not ideal, but the strikeout potential is there against Washington. So another solid play. Eovaldi, he limited ceiling. Don't expect anything from him in like the high 20s or even 30s. He has a very limited ceiling with his strikeout potential. Rogers, he has high strikeout potential, but he is going up against Boston, who is clearly the best team that he's faced all season. He's had a relatively easy schedule, facing Baltimore, Milwaukee again, the New York Mets when they could not do anything, Philly 2 times. So he's had an easy schedule so far to start the season. So I think he's still a nice play. The strikeouts are going to be there, even against Boston, but he's probably going to be letting up quite a few runs as well. So if I'm not going Darvish or Peralta, I'm probably looking farther down on the list here. Couple guys I'm going to be looking at. I think there's 3 guys here. It's going to be Gomber for Colorado. Again, this is only a 7-inning game, so he's not going to be going 8 innings like he did in his last start. 7-inning game, so he's probably only going to be going 6 innings at the most here. But the strikeouts in his past 4 starts, he's at nearly a 30% strikeout rate in his past 4 starts. Now he's going up against a Pittsburgh team that their WRC plus as a team against left-handed pitching is only a 79. That's the second worst in the entire league. If you don't know what WRC plus is, it's just kind of a metric where 100 is average. So the Pirates being at 79%, it means that they are 21% worse than your average team against left-handed pitching. So Pirates, they struggle a lot against lefties here. Gomber is in phenomenal form, and at only 7K, I think he's a great play, even if he only gets the 6 innings. Going even lower, I guess there's only 2 guys I'm going to be focusing on here, but Stripling for Toronto, 6,000 for Stripling here. Now, one thing with Stripling is that his floor is nearly non-existent. He can go out there and he can get hit hard. So the floor is not there. But at 6K, you're not really playing him for the floor. You're playing him for the salary savings and the upside that he can provide. He had a great start, or actually he came in relief. He came in the second inning against Tampa Bay here, and he finished out the game strong. I know they went into extras in this game, but he kind of finished through here, 7 innings, no earned runs, 7 Ks. So he's got 25% strikeout rate so far on the season. And Cleveland as a team in May, the month of May here, they're only hitting 217 as a team. So they're really struggling to hit the ball against right-handed pitching. Their on-base percentage is below 300, so they're not getting the walks either. And Stripling doesn't really walk guys too much. So at 6K, I think Stripling is another great option. So Darvish, Peralta, Gomber, and Stripling. I mean, 2 studs, 2 value plays. I think those are going to kind of be where I'm going to be looking at, especially for cash, as just kind of like top plays that I'm going to be focusing on here. Guys that I'm going to be owned, that I will have the most ownership of. I'm going to get that out. So let's look to the bats real quick, and then we'll start doing a little bit of roster construction to see kind of what these lines are going to be looking like when they do shape out here. So top team that I'm going to be targeting, and I was going to be all over them on Friday night, and then the rain came and postponed the game. But it's going to be the White Sox going up against Harvey here. Sad news though, everybody, the Madrigal train of him being dirt cheap is over. It only took 43 games of him batting over 300, having half of those games that near double digit or more fantasy points for him to finally crack really above 3,000. I think I've played Madrigal in like 70% of the Chicago White Sox games this season. He's just been so cheap, and I never understood why. But it finally happened. He's bumped up to 4K, so a little sad violin for that moment there when I saw that. But still, I think he's going to be a great play. Really, the Chicago White Sox against left-handed pitching, they're the best team in the league against left-handed pitching. I know they've struggled the past 2 times out against lefties, and it's hurt, but they're still number 1. And now they're going up against Matt Harvey. They shouldn't have any issue just letting the ball fly out of the park here or just around the park. So if you want some value with this team, Andrew Vaughn, 2.6K. He's hitting in the 3 spot here tonight, or was on Friday. I record these the night before, so it gets tricked up a little bit. But Vaughn, watch where he's batting in the order. Even if he's lower down in the order, 2.6 is just way too cheap for his potential. Madrigal still interested in. Anderson, Mercedes, they're just all amazing plays. Chicago White Sox, the one team. Next team that I'm going to be looking at heavily is, where'd they go? There. Minnesota going up against Carlos Hernandez. Now, it is still to be determined. We don't have anything official for the Kansas City starter, but I do believe it is Carlos Hernandez. Draftkings believes it's Carlos Hernandez as well. Ann Rogers, she is the Kansas City Royals beat reporter here. She says tomorrow's starter is to be determined. But if Casey doesn't need long relief tonight, Hernandez is probably built up for the start tomorrow. And it's 10:30 here, Kansas City. They did not need any long relief, so I'm expecting Carlos Hernandez to get the start tomorrow. And if he does, Minnesota is in a smash spot. Hernandez is a disaster. He's been a disaster in the very, very short stint in the majors, and he's been a disaster in the minor leagues as well, where he's struggling to keep an ERA under like 6, not only in AAA, but even in single A ball. He's just not a good pitcher. How he's made it to the majors here, I'm not really sure. His prospect rating, I mean, he's probably the like 12th or 13th prospect just in the Royals organization. So I don't know. But Minnesota is going to be in a great spot here going up against Hernandez. So those lefties, guys like Max Kepler leading off, awesome spot for him. Donaldson, I know he's a righty, but he's doing well. Looking Larnach, if he is in the lineup, 2.6K, that's great. Polanco, switch hitter. Really, I just like Minnesota. I think they're going to be in a great spot here going up against clearly the worst pitcher on the entire slate. I mean, Harvey can make a slight case there. So Chicago White Sox, Minnesota. And then the third team that's really going to be on my radar here is Toronto going up against Hentges. Hentges, he's an even splits pitcher. So lefties hit him hard, righties hit him hard. But righties are hitting nearly 350 against him in his young career in the majors. So Toronto, they can field an entire lineup of right-handed bats, and they're honestly not too expensive. If you look away from Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette, they're not too expensive here. Guy I like the most here, though, is going to be Teoscar Hernandez. If I was to make a home run call, Teoscar Hernandez is the home run call here. So I love Hernandez. I love Grichuk here. Their stats against righties, their ISO, their WOBA, just everything is off the charts so far this season. So they can also provide some great salary relief for those top guys like Vlad and Bo. So Toronto, Minnesota, and the Chicago White Sox, I think, are going to be your 3 top options for bats on this slate. So let's do some quick roster construction. I'll kind of give you kind of what cash could possibly be. I mean, you got lots of choices for cash. You could do your 2 studs at pitcher. You could do one of the studs and drop a low. If you do one of the studs like Darvish, and then you say you want to throw in Gomber, and I mean, let's just throw in some of those Toronto bats that I was talking about, like Teoscar Hernandez, who I think is going to be. There's lots of outfielders that I want in this slate here, which I think it happens every single slate. But Hernandez, Grichuk, and Minnesota, I don't know how you fade Kepler going up against a terrible right-handed pitcher. So I'd love to throw him in there as well. Just trying to think. I mean, you're still at 3.7K even with this. You can easily fit in pretty much whoever you want here. If you go to Chicago, Andrew Vaughn, I said he's a great value play. I mean, you're bumping up to over 4K with your remaining bats. So you can pay down to Gomber. You could even do the 2 studs if you want, and do Darvish and do Peralta. That still leaves you with 3-3. You'd like a little bit more, I guess, just because we already do have one of the value plays in there, but it's possible. So yeah, so if you do want to do those 2 stud pitchers, you could also kind of go a more GPP route. And the GPP team that I kind of like here is going to be Kansas City. Kansas City is going up against Happ, and Happ in his past 3 starts has really struggled. Check out his logs there. He's not in great form at all. And Kansas City, they provide quite a bit of salary relief for us and just, stolen base upside and those sorts of things. Mondesi here at 3.3K, another great value play. Him and Vaughn with the 2 stud pitchers, your remaining salary is 3.9K. And you can do a lot of great stuff with that salary savings there. So if you throw in a guy like Soler, who's got that power, Santana, you're not going to throw in Santana because Vaughn is first base. But I mean, you could put Vaughn in outfield because he is dual eligible. Drop him down, put in Santana, and you're still probably looking at that 3-9 remaining. So easily able to fit in the 2 stud pitchers without any problem. And if you want to go the other route in GPP and absolutely just load up the bats and go 2 cheaper pitchers, so if you go with Gomber and you go with Stripling, the guys I was talking about, you're looking at 4.6K for your bats. Toronto, I think the price of Vlad and the price of Bo are going to scare quite a few people off. But if you jam them in, you can even jam in Simeon, and I love Teoscar Hernandez. So let's just throw in Grichuk because we want to. 3.3K. Totally doable. There's value out there, as I've pointed out. You just might have to drop one of these guys out, just with positional eligibility. But you can absolutely jam in the bats and do some cheap pitching here in GPPs as well. So lots of different ways that you can go this slate. There's 10 games. Obviously, there are going to be great plays out there that I didn't highlight, but this is just kind of get you looking at what teams I think are going to be the targets for me at least. And that's going to be the White Sox, the Twins, and the Toronto Blue Jays. So that kind of recaps everything. Hit that thumbs up button, drop a comment below. It really does help us out when you guys hit that thumbs up button and boost that engagement. It really helps us bring this free content to you guys on a daily basis, sometimes 2 videos a day with the early and the late main slates. So good luck in your contest this afternoon, and I will see you guys in the next video.